What's up, guys?
What's up, peoples?
So today we're going to talk about why we decided to get married young.
Getting married young is a big thing. A lot of issues, people think that being married young is not a good thing because you're not mature enough for it. But being married young also has a lot of benefits. So we'll talk to you guys about some of the reasons why we want to get married young and also some of the downfalls of getting married young.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Let's go.
I early on knew that I wanted to be married young because I had a couple reasons why.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I wanted to be married young is because I wanted that spouse support and family support when continuing my education. As many of you know, I am pursuing a career in dentistry and wanting to become a dentist. And the goal is soon to be an orthodontist. I try to shy away from talking about my goals because it's something that I'm still working towards and I kind of don't just want to put myself out there. But you guys who have been following for a while, you guys already know. So with that being said, I wanted to have my spouse with me. I wanted to go on that journey with him and, just have somebody in my corner, somebody who would, be with me, support me mentally, financially, spiritually.
Celebrate the good times, pick you up in the bad times.
I needed all of that. I also wanted to just go through life with my spouse when I'm younger and be able to grow, learn, go through downfalls and ups together. I didn't want to be fully established and set in my career, set in my goals when meeting my spouse because I just love the idea of growing with someone else,
building together,
building that appreciation from one another, having that history.
Yeah, that really goes to where a lot of reasons why I want to get married young is because you have someone who you are older, you have your own routines, your own ways, the way you do things, the way you celebrate holidays, the way you live life, the way you cook. So trying to bring someone else into that, your own spin, it can have issues. You got some clash. And my idea in Young Married Young was that we're not really at the point where we develop those things together. And I feel that being married younger in general will allow us to have a stronger relationship over time because we built those habits and those things together over time. It wasn't like we came in and I had to try to undo or redo the way that I live life to fit the way that she lives life. So that's I like that idea of it because you see people who get married in their 50s, 60s. They got a lot of stuff they got to try to deal with, try to bind their lives together. And I didn't want to have to deal with that.
So basically, you don't want to have to unlearn habits that you were accustomed to prior to getting married.
Exactly, because one is that why put yourself through that? That's just gonna cause issues. I'd rather build and learn and grow into the adults that I want to be with my spouse, rather than trying to change that adult in the future to fit my spouse better. Yeah.
Because as you get older, it is somewhat harder to try to change who you are and what you've been doing and your routine. When you're younger, you're more open to doing things, changing your ways. Yeah, more flexible.
Yeah, that's true. Another big reason of getting married young is financial wise. As you're older, like I said, you mentioned you already have your idea of finances kind of set as far as
your career.
So that could be an issue as far as combining your finances together and you've spent your whole life building this career, building this nest egg, and now you have to share that with someone else and their financial issues and their debts and their tax issues. That's a lot to have to do with coming into a marriage. So in my mind, if you get married before you deal with any of that, then you got to build that together. You guys create that nest egg together. It's your money, it's your situation. It's not, okay, this is mine, this is theirs. I've never liked that idea.
And can you imagine? That has to be hard. Can you imagine you worked so hard, you've been to school, you had blood, sweat, and tears, you saved up all this money, brought your first home, and then you get married and your wife's like, oh, that's mine. And what if your wife is a spender and she's spending all that money you worked so hard for?
See.
That would be an issue. Like, that's your, I mean, of course it'll be one, but in your mind, it's like, that's your money. That's your money.
I never wanted it to be my money. I always like the idea that when we're together as a spouse, you are one. So what's yours is mine. So there is no my money, your money. It's our money. That's kind of how I view things. And I knew that if I got married older in life,
that would be really hard.
It would be hard to view things that way, even if my spouse may not view things that way. And I didn't want that. I definitely want my spouse to view that, hey, what's yours is mine, what's mine is yours. And that's kind of how I look at things. So getting married young also adds to that ability to be able to do that. And
just save together, you know.
Exactly. And learn how to be better spenders together.
Yeah.
Because you have someone who was a big spender, someone who saves a lot, that's going to clash. So I feel like the older you wait, the longer you wait to get married, I almost feel like your options of who to marry, they shrink in my mind. Because you're going to find more things you don't like out there. You're going to be set in your ways. You're going to have issues with children, everything else. To me, getting married younger is a good thing if you're ready for marriage.
And then it also may be a burden if you get married young because you're not financially stable because you haven't, peaked upon your career.
Sure.
So that could be a stress. Well, we've been through it, kind of still going through it, but we knew this is something we signed up for, and it's something that we're open and accepting. We're embracing this journey, because in my mind, like I said before, I'd rather do it with my husband than by myself. Because ideally, yes, I'm trying to still work on my career, still trying to get better financially, but I'm doing it together with him. So it's like sometimes I'm having more money, sometimes he's having more money, but it's like we're doing it together. So it's like I can always lean on him. If I'm low, he can always lean on me if he's low, and vice versa.
Being married young, it isn't necessarily an easy thing. So there are a lot of stressors that life puts on you while you're young, because you are trying to figure out your career, you are trying to figure out your finances, you are trying to figure out life in general. So the idea of figuring out life with your spouse is a good idea, but if you're not the kind of person that's ready for that, and you're not the kind of person that's willing to do that, and willing to be flexible, willing to, I'm going to set my career aside to help my spouse reach their goals and then come back to my career. If you're not willing to do that, then you don't necessarily get to be married young. You may need to get, if your career is not important to you, get your career straight first and then get married. Those are the kind of things you need to weigh in your own mind, your own self when getting married, whether it's young or old, wherever, that, what comes first to you? And if becoming that high level, whatever, is really important to you, you may need to get that done first. Because once you're married, life isn't just about you. It's about you and your spouse. And if to benefit your family unit, you have to put some of your wants and desires on the back burner. I'm not saying give up on your dreams, but put your wants and desires on the back burner for the time being. If you're not willing to do that, then you don't need to get married.
And then you have to compromise in a marriage, because when you're married, you're not only making decisions for yourself, you're making decisions for your family. So it's like whatever you decide is not going to potentially affect you, it's going to affect your husband and your children. I can't just say, okay, yes, I want to move to California because this is where I need to be right now. You have to weigh out the pros and the cons and what's going to be best for the family at that time.
I say back burner. I'm not saying that you take your desires from the wayside. It's the back burner of your stove. It's still on the stove. It's still being cooked. It's still getting there. It's still bubbling. It's just not the most important thing at that moment. And then sometimes things get switched around on the stove. That's how it is. Sometimes we stuck to the front burner, to the left burner, to the right burner. Hey, that's how it is. But back burner doesn't mean just get rid of it. It's still there. It's still developing. It's just not the most important thing right now.
And I'm glad he elaborated on that, because initially when he said back burner, I'm like, you don't mean that. Because when I hear back burner, I'm thinking, okay, it's just off to the wayside, forgotten about, no coming back. You'll come back to it, but
it's still cooking. It's still there. It's just not
for a while
thing right now. So, yeah.
Another reason is, it's kind of going to be one of your reasons too, was I wanted to have children at a certain age.
Yes.
So now that I'm in my like 20-somethings.
20-somethings, okay.
My timeline for children, it hasn't changed, but I'm open to waiting a little longer. Only because we need to be financially ready. That's really the only reason why. Mm-hmm. When you're young, you have your set ages, and I had my set age. I know I wanted to at least have all of my children before 30. Like many women, we just have that number in our head. Like we just think 30 is old. When you hit 30, you have to have all of your children. You have to be done. So that was my mindset. And I still kind of think that. But I'm open to possibly maybe having a second child at 30. I can't believe I'm saying that. Only because I don't want to have to pay for daycare twice. So I'm open to just waiting until my first one starting kindergarten, and then I'll pop the next one out.
We have a son now who's 3. And like I said, in a couple of years, he'll be starting school. And that's the idea. My goal is to have all my children by the time I was 32. After 32, I don't want any more kids, because you do the math, 32, when they're 18, you're 50. That's a good age to have your kids going off to college, have an empty house. You're still young enough to go travel and do things and have fun and enjoy life and be there for your children. I didn't want to be in a situation where my kids are in college and I'm 70, 80 years old. That's not my idea of what I wanted to be. I wanted to be able to help my children out and okay, well, I can babysit, I can do this, I can do that, while my children are going through life. I want my children to grow up and get married and have kids while I'm still here. And so the younger I had my children, the more likely that was going to happen. Yeah. So that's why, that was one of my main reasons for getting married young, because I know having no kids outside of marriage. So you gotta get married young, so you gotta have your kids young. See, that's how you gotta do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video, for supporting us. It has been 1 year since we've been consistently providing content for you guys. We initially started last year in August, uploading consistently. So this is a big milestone for us.
Yeah, we're almost at 500 subscribers. Share our videos with your friends and your families. We have our dental side. We also have this side. We talk about relationships, talk about life, talk about family.
Do
vlogs. So share it around. We continue to thank you guys for all the feedback you give us. Continue to like our videos. Continue to comment. Want us to do something you want to see us do, something that you want us to talk about, if there's a topic you want us to talk about, leave it in the comments. We will definitely talk about it. We love you guys. We're glad you're on this journey with us. Thank you for a year. We hope to see you many more years in the future.
Yep. And we'll see you guys in the next video.
All right. Bye. Deuces.